Introduction. If you've ever stared at the front of your house and thought the yard looks more like a desert than a garden, you're not alone. Most homeowners juggle busy schedules, unpredictable weather, and a garden center budget that never seems to stretch far enough. The good news? There are plants that thrive on neglect, survive brutal winters, and stay vibrant with almost zero watering. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through a curated list of hardy, low-maintenance plants that will transform any front yard, from the tidy suburbs of Ohio to the sun-baked streets of Arizona, into a thriving, eye-catching landscape. Stick around, because the middle of this list contains a couple of hidden gems that most nurseries never mention, and you'll want to know about them before you click Add to Cart. Number 1. Boxwood, Buxus sempervirens. Boxwood gets a bad rap as a finicky, high-maintenance shrub, but that reputation is mostly myth. The most common mistake is overwatering the moment the foliage looks a shade duller. In reality, a slightly muted green is simply the plant adjusting to seasonal temperature swings, not a sign of decline. Boxwood prefers well-drained soil and partial sun, and it will happily sit untouched for weeks on end. It thrives in USDA zones 5 to 9, covering a massive swath of the United States from the Midwest down through the Mid-Atlantic and into parts of the South. What makes boxwood a true investment is its longevity. Properly cared for, it can live more than a century, outliving the house you plant it beside. A single dwarf variety can fit a modest suburban lot, giving you the same structured hedge you'd expect from a sprawling estate, but without the need for constant pruning. The plant holds its value at nurseries because a mature 5-gallon boxwood costs more upfront than a flat of annuals. Yet those annuals die back each spring while the boxwood stands firm year after year. Use it as a low wall along your porch, a neat hedge bordering the driveway, or a sculpted focal point in a small front garden. Once established, it requires almost no extra water, just the occasional shape-up to keep the lines clean. Number 2. Creeping Phlox, Phlox subulata. If you have a slope that erodes every time it rains, creeping phlox is the plant that silently does the heavy lifting. Its dense root network grabs loose soil, preventing erosion while delivering a carpet of pink, purple, or white blossoms in early spring. After the showy bloom period, it settles into a low, green mat that needs virtually no attention. Creeping phlox thrives in USDA zones 3 to 9, so it tolerates everything from harsh Minnesota winters to gentle North Carolina springs. The key to success is planting it in lean, well-drained soil, and full sun, overly rich soil makes it leggy and weak. It's also one of the easiest plants on this list to propagate. A mature patch can be divided every few years, giving you free new plants for other problem spots without spending another dime at the nursery. Pair it with early blooming bulbs like daffodils or tulips, and the phlox will fill in the gaps once the bulb foliage fades, solving 2 landscaping challenges with 1 planting. Number 3. Black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia hirta. Summer often leaves many front yards looking barren after the spring flush is over. Black-eyed Susan steps in exactly when you need it, late June through early October. Its bright yellow, daisy-shaped flowers with dark centers create a striking, long-lasting display. Adapted to USDA zones 3 to 7, this plant tolerates poor soil, full sun, and occasional drought. It's technically a short-lived perennial that may behave as a biennial in some zones, but that's a benefit. It reseeds itself if you leave the spent flower heads through winter. Over-deadheading can actually reduce the next year's vigor. A few dried heads provide the seed source for a denser patch next season. Beyond aesthetics, Black-eyed Susan feeds pollinators, bees, butterflies, and even birds throughout the summer, turning your curb appeal into a small wildlife sanctuary. End of Part 1. If you're already picturing a tidy, structured boxwood hedge, a slope-stabilizing carpet of phlox, and a summer-long burst of yellow, stay tuned. The next segment dives into shade-loving beauties and bold, volume-adding shrubs that will keep your yard looking spectacular even when the sun hides. Number 4. Hosta, Hosta species. Shade is often the toughest obstacle for front yard designers, but hostas are built for it. These perennials flourish in USDA zones 3 to 9, thriving under trees, along the north side of a house, or in any low-light corner you once deemed dead. Hostas produce large, dramatic foliage in shades ranging from deep blue-green to bright lime, with many variegated forms featuring white or gold edges. The common mistake is planting them in full sun, which scorches the leaves. In contrast, they love filtered light and a rich, well-drained soil. Once established, they need only occasional watering and are largely pest-free. Slugs are the main adversary, but a simple crushed eggshell barrier keeps them at bay. Each hosta plant dies back to the ground in winter, a normal cycle that often scares new owners. Come spring, the foliage returns, often larger and more vigorous. Hostas are also incredibly easy to divide. Dig up a mature clump every few years, split it, and you have multiple new plants without any additional cost. Use them under trees, along a shady fence, or as a filler in a mixed border. Number 5. Hydrangea, Hydrangea macrophylla. When you need visual weight and a splash of pastel color, Hydrangea delivers. Suitable for USDA zones 5 to 9, this shrub produces large, cloud-like flower heads that can dominate a front yard facade. The magic lies in soil chemistry. Acidic, aluminum-rich soil yields blue blooms, while alkaline soil produces pink. You can subtly shift the hue by amending the soil with aluminum sulfate or lime, but remember, the change occurs over a season or two. Pruning is critical. Cutting back in early spring often removes next year's buds. The safest window is right after bloom when the plant has set its flower buds. Some varieties bloom on old wood, others on new wood. Check the tag before you prune. Hydrangeas love a balanced spot, morning sun, afternoon shade, and consistent moisture while establishing. Pair a hydrangea with low-growing hostas to create a layered effect. Hostas provide texture at ground level, while hydrangeas add height and volume. Number 6. Bougainvillea, Bougainvillea spectabilis. For those in warmer climates, USDA zones 9 to 11, a vivid, cascading display of Bougainvillea can turn a plain fence into a postcard-worthy backdrop. This vine thrives in full sun and well-drained soil, but the surprising secret is that it blooms more aggressively when slightly stressed. A modestly root-bound container and periods of light drought stimulate profuse pink, red, orange, or purple bracts. Overwatering or excessive pot size encourages leaf growth at the expense of blooms. Bougainvillea is perfect for a sunny fence line, a trellis near the front entrance, or a large container on a patio. In cooler zones, grow it in a pot and bring it indoors during winter freezes. End of Part 2. Now that you've got structure, shade, and bold color covered, the final 2 sections will reveal the ultimate low-maintenance ground covers and a drought-defying succulent that will finish your yard's transformation. Number 7. Creeping Thyme, Thymus serpillum. Walkable ground covers are rare, but creeping thyme excels. It tolerates light foot traffic, releasing a gentle herbal fragrance when stepped on, turning a plain walkway into a fragrant experience. This plant prefers USDA zones 4 to 9, full sun, and well-drained, drier soil, essentially the opposite of hostas. Once established, it forms a dense, low mat, only a few inches tall, choking out weeds and eliminating the need for mowing. It also blooms in tiny magenta to white flowers, adding a subtle visual layer during late spring. Plant creeping thyme between paving stones, along the edge of a walkway, or as a replacement for a small, stubborn lawn patch. Its low maintenance, no fertilizer, minimal watering, makes it a one-time investment that gets denser with time. Number 8. Liriope, Liriope muscari. Often called lily turf, Liriope is a shade-tolerant ornamental grass that thrives in USDA zones 5 to 10. It grows in clumps with glossy, dark green leaves and produces purple flower spikes in late summer. Liriope is excellent for borders where grass refuses to grow, under a tree canopy, along a driveway edge, or in a rain garden. The plant tolerates poor soil and drought, and it only needs a single annual trim in late winter before new growth appears. Variegated forms add visual interest with cream-striped foliage. Number 9. Sedum, Stonecrop. If you want a plant that practically lives on neglect, Sedum is the champion. These succulent-like perennials store water in fleshy leaves, thriving in USDA zones 3 to 9 with full sun and fast-draining soil. Overwatering is the biggest mistake. Too much moisture rots the roots. Sedum's thick leaves endure prolonged dry spells that would kill most other front yard plants. It also offers seasonal color change. green in spring, pink or rust-red flower clusters in late summer, and sometimes a subtle bronze hue in fall. The late-season blooms provide a final food source for bees before winter. Use sedum in rock gardens, gravel strips, or any sunny, dry spot where you've given up on growing anything else. Number 10. Japanese Spirea, Spirea japonica. Japanese Spirea is a versatile shrub that tolerates both sun and partial shade, making it ideal for transitional zones, USDA 5 to 9. It produces clusters of pink or white flowers in late spring to early summer, followed by attractive foliage that turns reddish-bronze in autumn. The plant is drought-tolerant once established and requires minimal pruning, just a light shaping after bloom to keep a tidy shape. Number 11. Daylily, Hemerocallis species. Daylilies are the workhorses of low-maintenance gardening. They thrive in USDA zones 3 to 9, tolerating a wide range of soil conditions. Each plant produces a single trumpet-shaped flower per stem, lasting only one day, but a mature clump can yield dozens of blooms over a 6-week period. Daylilies are deer-resistant, require little water after the first season, and divide easily every few years, providing new plants for expansion. Number 12. Russian sage, Perovskia atriplycifolia. For a silvery, airy presence, Russian sage flourishes in USDA zones 5 to 9, preferring full sun and well-drained soil. Its airy spikes of lavender-blue flowers attract pollinators and create a soft backdrop behind taller shrubs. The plant is extremely drought-tolerant and needs only occasional pruning to maintain shape. End of Part 3. We've covered everything from structured hedges to fragrant walkways, but the final part brings it all together, showing how to combine these selections into a cohesive, low-maintenance front yard that works for any climate zone. Putting it all together. Now that you've explored 12 hardy, low-maintenance plants, you can start matching them to the specific challenges of your front yard. Structure and year-round green. Boxwood gives you a timeless hedge that needs only occasional shaping. Pair it with dwarf varieties for smaller lots. Erosion control and spring color. Creeping Phlox or Liriope stabilizes slopes, while delivering a carpet of blossoms or foliage. Summer and early fall show. Black-eyed Susan provides continuous yellow blooms, and Russian sage adds a soft, lavender backdrop. Shade solutions. Hostas and Japanese Spirea thrive under trees, delivering texture and seasonal color where sun-loving plants fail. Bold volume. Hydrangea creates a dramatic, cloud-like presence, especially when you fine-tune soil pH for your desired hue. Warm zone drama. Bougainvillea rewards a touch of neglect with vivid bracts that can cover an entire wall. Walkable ground cover. Creeping thyme turns a plain stone path into a scented stroll, while sedum and daylily fill in dry, sunny spots with minimal care. Seasonal interest. Liriope and Russian sage keep borders lively through summer into autumn, and sedum's color shift adds winter intrigue. By selecting the right combination, you'll achieve a yard that looks intentional, vibrant, and resilient, no matter how busy life gets. Call to action. If any of these plants sparked your imagination, hit the like button, subscribe, and share which one you're most likely to plant first in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, your state, your USDA zone, so we can tailor future lists to your local conditions. Remember, the secret to a thriving front yard isn't a massive budget or endless hours of labor. It's choosing plants that are built to survive the exact conditions you live with. Give one of these a try this weekend, and in 6 months, you'll see a transformation that feels almost magical. End of Part 4. Stay tuned for the final segment, where we'll reveal a surprise bonus plant that even seasoned gardeners often overlook, and show you how to create a seamless transition from your front yard into the porch or entryway for a truly polished look. Bonus plant, Autumn Joy, Sedum Autumn Joy. While we've already covered the general benefits of sedum, the cultivar Autumn Joy deserves a special mention. This hybrid produces large, fleshy leaves that stay green through summer, then turn a deep, coppery bronze in fall. Its towering flower heads rise well above the foliage, creating a striking vertical accent that draws the eye upward, perfect for a narrow front yard where you need height without sacrificing low maintenance. The plant thrives in USDA zones 3 to 9, tolerates full sun, and requires only occasional watering after the first growing season. Because it stores water in its leaves, it can survive prolonged droughts, making it an excellent companion for the other succulents and ground covers we've discussed. Plant Autumn Joy in a sunny corner near the entryway, or as a border plant flanking a pathway. Its late-season blooms also provide a final nectar source for pollinators before winter, extending the ecological benefits of your yard well into the colder months. The end of Part 5, Wrap-Up. You now have a toolbox of 12 reliable low-maintenance plants, plus a bonus cultivar, each chosen to solve a specific front yard challenge, whether that's structural definition, erosion control, shade tolerance, or eye-catching color. By mixing and matching these selections according to your climate zone and yard layout, you'll create a front garden that looks professionally designed, thrives on neglect, and supports local wildlife. If you found this guide useful, please like the video, subscribe for more practical landscaping tips, and leave a comment telling us which plant you'll start with. Your feedback helps shape future episodes, ensuring we keep delivering the exact information you need to turn any front yard into a thriving, low-effort oasis.